Hi, I'm Juliet. Gary Oldman directed a music video for a Jewish hip-hop band which he shot entirely on cell phones. He asked me to direct the making of, and when I saw the footage that I'd gotten, I realized I had a unique perspective into Gary's creative process. I approached him and asked if it could develop into a short documentary film. In these interviews, I'm talking to other artists who I admire about their creative process, and like Take Flight, hopefully shedding some light and showing them a little bit differently than they've been seen. So tell me a little bit about your process. How did you become an actor?
I wanted to be a jazz dancer very badly because of West Side Story. And my parents, having been in show business in Europe, felt very strongly that if I wanted to be a good dancer, I had to take ballet. And I didn't want to take ballet because it just wasn't cool. And I knew that I'd be the only guy in a class with all girls, and it'd just be dorky, and it would be silly. But I went, and I ended up loving ballet, and I joined the company, and I was with the ballet company for a while.
How do you prep for a role?
It's pretty much the same with every play or musical, and for me, it's learning the words. You get those out of the way as quickly as possible and learn them so that you can do them in your sleep and do them backwards and forwards, so that when you get to the rehearsal, that you're not stuck in the page, that you're looking at the person that you're working with. Because I believe that you can't start working until you're looking at the person in the eyes. Mm-hmm. If it's a musical, I find that I have to go into some kind of training. I have to go back into working up the stamina, lung stamina for the singing and the dancing.
What about when you were working on Buffy and you were preparing for that character? What was there specifics that you worked on with that character?
There really wasn't. There really wasn't anything specifically that I would go home and I'd be working on. It would all be in the text for me. And then once you get to the set, if I strayed into the area of, you must pay the rent, you must pay the rent, then Joss would say, no, don't go do that, don't do that, just throw it away. The last two shows, there was no script. And there wasn't a script until you got to the set and you got a synopsis. And then you got to the set and they said, well, we're writing it right now. And as soon as we get it, we'll get it to you. And then you would finally get it, you go, they got on the set, you rehearse it, they light it, and you learn the words. That's a whole other kettle of fish altogether, and you have to just trust your instincts. At that point, you've already done enough episodes and you have enough idea of what the character is like that you can fall back on that.
What is the project you've worked on that you felt was the most like a kid playing?
I was doing Cats when I was in the Broadway production of Cats, and when you're in rehearsal for that, here we are, we're adults and we're all on our knees trying to be a little pack of cats, and we were on our knees for about 3 weeks. Walking around, crawling around the rehearsal studio in tights, and every once in a while you'd be trying to do the improv and trying to do what Trevor Nunn would ask you to do, and then you'd be on the floor, and then you look at somebody and you go, what the hell are we doing here? What the hell? Sometimes on stage we'd look like that because you'd be in what we would say be pantyhose and yak hair. And you'd be walking around and being a cat, and you're an adult. You go, what the heck are we doing? Because they're children's poems. The last time I had that was actually doing a play with my wife, with Dawn. And it was at our theater company, the Antaeus Company.
Was it the Chekhov?
Yeah.
Was it you were
and it was the Chekhov. I would talk to Dawn and I would say, I haven't had this feeling for such a long time, and since you're only playing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever it is, Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, I'd be like a dog waiting out by the door, say, when can we go? I want to go, I want to go. I couldn't wait to get to the theater, and to have that feeling again is a gift. There's a show I did in Pasadena, and there was just this one bit. I had this glass of champagne, and there was a chaise that it looked like the fabric there was no bend in it or cut in it, like it was completely smooth going down to the end like that. And I said, I wonder what would happen if. And I took this glass of champagne, put it on the edge, and then gave it a nudge. And
Did
just
it
to
go?
see, and it went, and the whole glass just went like that, stayed perfectly still.
It did?
And I tried it again, and it went. I said, all right, that's a bit.
That's
So let's see.
great.
So you would take it, and I had a thing of
It did
trays
it
of
8
stuff.
shows a week?
Yeah, it did it. And there was a backup because you had to hit it a certain way.
Oh my God.
And there was a backup way of doing it. And if you didn't hit it the first time, if you hit it and didn't go the first time, because I had to go and pick up something, and I can come back and pick it up and hit it the second time. So there was a backup of making the bit work.
Right.
But every time the glass went down, it went like that and just stopped perfectly. And you go, that's classic. That's something you don't get to see a lot
Yeah.
on stage. That kind of physical stuff. I love doing that. I
Yeah.
love doing that kind of work. It's so much fun.
When something comes together for you as an artist, what does that feel like?
When you're on stage and you really feel like you're communicating, and if it's something that you feel strongly about, a subject matter that you feel strongly about, an idea, an issue that you feel strongly about it, and you really want them to get it, and you feel like they are getting it, it almost makes you cry. When that all comes together, and the rest of the cast feels the same way, and the director feels the same way, and everything, it's just it's what you hope for. And again, those situations are rare.
We get a rare POV in Take Flight as Gary operates one of the cell cams that we would never get with a traditional camera. It's like being inside his head and seeing through his eyes. If I gave you a cell cam, what would we see?
You might see a German rapping oompa band. My father was a concert pianist, but when he came to this, when we immigrated in '53 from Germany, and when he came to this country, he had to get extra work, and so he had a little oompa band, and he would go about on the weekends and play the oompa band. At one point he said, because I played drums, he said, do you want to come and play with the band for just a couple things? And I said, well, okay, because you can make some extra money. But the lederhosen that I put on was way too big. So I was this little guy in this lederhosen playing oompa music with my father in these places. Did that about 2 or 3 times. It was fun, but it was disastrous, I think, for me, just disastrous for me.
Okay, so I have this film, and it's about Gary Oldman, Jewish hip-hop, and cell phones. How do you think I should market it?
Can have an oompa band. A German rapping oompa band.